It's official, our loft renovation has begun, and this is part one of God knows probably 457 parts of the major process we're about to go through. Our house came with this incredible original loft room and Victorian staircase leading up to it, and when we viewed the house we just saw size and potential. It's literally the size of some flats I've lived in, but with that comes the task of actually renovating it, so here we fucking go, lads. But it's not just the room that needs renovating, we also need to take off the whole roof and have that rebuilt first. Woohoo! The first steps are all so boring. Lots of measuring, floor cladding, paperwork, blah blah blah. As new steel supports will be put in for the new roof, we have to issue party wall notices to our neighbours who have been brilliant and hopped on board with our plans. We've also had to get a structural engineer to calculate the size of those beams and the rafters, insulation, new dormer dimensions. This one is going in the bin, obviously, and all the technical stuff that I honestly do not understand. I'm just baby. But I am that girl who's always 500 steps ahead, so of course I've already planned the decor and layout of this master bedroom and ensuite we don't actually have yet. It's giving woman in her 30s who has no one to please but herself. Colour, wiggly stuff, smiley faces, the usual. And it's all happening a lot sooner than you think. In less than a month this roof will be off, so we've got a lot of work to do. Come back for part two when we're getting stuck into the mess. We only meant to strip the wallpaper in our loft, but we ended up revealing this brickwork beast. It was a day, let me tell you. We're just starting to renovate this loft space to turn it into a bedroom with ensuite. Step one was getting everything out and stored somewhere else, and that somewhere else is our spare room, which is now a whole obstacle course. The cats are like, what in the Takeshi's castle is going on in here? Then to save the original fireplace, we had to remove the crumbling surround, which wasn't hard, and take out the iron insert, but the Victorians had left us a little surprise, a big pile of bricks. We did find 2 dead birds in here on the day we moved in, so this is sort of an improvement, I guess. The dust and mess took ages to clear out. Note to self, wear a mask. But this was just the start of the horrors to come. Because I turned my back for 1 second and Neil's like, hold on, this isn't brick. And before you know it, we've uncovered these lard and plaster triangles the Victorians had sort of filled these gaps with. Weird flex, but sure. And by this point, we're like, well, there's no going back now. We're going to have to take all the plaster off. So, of course, we do. The 2 brick stacks either side of the central fireplace are the flues from the fireplaces in our bedrooms below. And I quite like it all open and exposed. Maybe a feature to keep, let's see. But finally we can move on to what we intended on doing today, stripping the wallpaper. So go to the next part to see what else we uncover. Over and out, I guess. Reporting live from a scaffolding tower in North London because our whole roof is gone. And what we found was not good. We're renovating our Victorian loft room, which not only includes making over the inside, but completely removing and replacing the roof too. Inside, we revealed this beast of a fireplace by accident. Then a few days later, giant scaffolding arrived. The house was prepped for full protection from dusty boots, and having scaffolding put up felt very grown up. Managed to arrange and pay for it without a single telephone call though. Anxiety wins again. A tin hat over the top means works can go on even if it rains. And have you ever actually stood up on your own roof? It's giving chimney, it's giving step in time. Then a skip landed on the road and the builders came to get the roof gone and rebuilt, and in just a few days it was all off and our house looked like this. Not a single roof tile to speak of. And look what we found between the rafters, some vintage ciggies from around 1900. But somehow it got wilder. The internal walls and ceilings were removed on day 2 and left us with this. Literally nothing. Just look at how rickety this dormer was. Next time you ask us to keep an original feature because it has history, please remember this clip. But before everything kicked off, at the very last minute, I kept some cuts of the gazillion different bits of lino that were on the floor, and I'm not sure what to do with these, but just keeping them for the memes for now. And next time we'll hopefully have some sort of roof back on here. I don't know. See you then, Hans. We've got no roof on the house and it's absolute chaos up here. We did once have a room and a roof, but it was literally falling apart, so we're rebuilding it all from scratch, and the scale of this disaster zone is something else. We started with this, which now looks like this. Remember us stripping off this wallpaper? Well, that was a waste of time.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
In the last part, our builders completely removed our roof and it was everywhere. The skip was overflowing, but another one soon arrived, so the next part of this mammoth project could begin. Floors. Much like our roof, these Victorian floors are bowed to shit, so they've got to be replaced. But because we got Reno FOMO, we spent the weekend helping with the clear up, mainly getting all the muck out between the floor joists, and we felt like two work experienced kids working the pulley up and down. Did I have fun? Yes. Would I want to do this every day of my life? No. But some incredible discoveries were made under the floors. This vintage wire insulation, original tiles from the late fireplace hearth, a fork, a ciggy packet, a child's collar. This book is amazing. Arthur Gilbert, age 8, writing about Thor in 1908. Anyway, progress is full steam ahead. Next time we have new floors going in. Woohoo! And remember the fireplace we uncovered that many of you had strong opinions on whether we should keep it all exposed or just cover it up. Well, now we can see the full extent of it and decisions have been made. Go to the next part. Our huge loft renovation has caused absolute turmoil in the house this week. Seriously, it's bad. It all started with the need to replace the old floors in our crumbling loft room before the roof goes back on. State of it all. These Victorian joists and floorboards were all bowed and not up to modern regulations, and we want to make this house stronger for hundreds of years to come. So new boards arrived bright and early, and before we knew it, our fantastic builders had the old ones out and all brand new in. Honestly, how anyone just makes a floor is beyond me. The math is just not mathing in my brain. But it does make for a very satisfying watch. So now the floors are in and our future guests will no longer feel like they're on a pirate ship up here. But here is where it all started to go wrong. A hole in the ceiling emerged, which we were absolutely expecting as the ceiling is attached to the old joists. So we thought, fuck it, let's just take the whole hallway ceiling down while the house is in reno mode. And yeah, bad idea. Our weekend became a dust-soaked hellscape. We naively didn't expect it to create so much mess. You'd think 3 years into a renovation and we'd be more clued up, but here we are. Have you ever had to hoover your walls and then scrub them for 3 hours straight? Because I have. Anyway, I won't dwell on this because honestly, I want to forget it ever happened.
Oh my God!
But in more pressing news, remember our jumbo fireplace we didn't know whether to keep exposed or cover up? Well, we have officially decided to keep it exposed. The full process is coming up next time, and there's a giant steel beam being craned into our house. All the best, yeah? Part 6, and it's time to sort out this fireplace. We never even knew it existed, and now it's huge in our house, and she's not in a good state, so we've got to do some destruction. But why? Well, we're keeping all of the bricks exposed for the final room, so we cracked on with the clean-up. But we soon realised we were just smushing the old lime mortar all over it and making it worse. Who knew that was possible? So we researched and realised we need to rake out the mortar if we have any chance of making the brick faces look cute. We got all the proper tools for our angle grinder and drill and spent about 3 hours raking it real good. Of course, this fireplace was never designed to be seen, let alone look pretty, so it's going to be a big mission. And boy, do my arms still ache a week on. And we did this now because we have no roof, so technically we're outside, which saved us being stuck in a huge dust chamber. The cleanup was an extra hour, dusting and hoovering off each brick, ready for that final clean-in. But doesn't it look so much better already? That definition is stronger than a gym bro's abs. I'll get into the cleanup soon, but big roof news, guys. The steels finally arrived for the structures to be built and were craned in. Look at them just swinging in the wind. Anxiety was really anxietying in this moment. But before we knew it, they're in the walls, and I think we have a roof now? Who do we think we are? The open air terrace is on its way out, but a big part of the plan has changed. I'll explain all in part 7. We've gone from literally no roof to this, but this full-size beast of a dormer was not in the plan. To save money, we were just going to have a slightly larger dormer than before for the window on the back of the roof, but as building began, the placement of the stills became a problem. Building control said to stills going through the chimney breasts where the blue marks are here, so they had to be moved, and long story short, to hide the stills the dormer had to be full width. The roof structure went up over the course of about a week after lots of back and forth with our structural engineer and building control, and now our house has a big back compared to what we originally planned. But then we were on to the thing you actually care about, the fireplace. With the mortar raked and bricks ready for cleaning, we picked up some brick cleaning acid, and I shit you not, this process could not have been easier. You dilute the acid with water water, get all your protective gear on, of course. Then just use a stiff brush to get all that muck off. The bricks scrubbed up so well with minimal effort and only needed one round of cleaning. This was not a trust the process moment. Remember what we started with? Well, this is her now. Feel old yet? And we got this done just in time for actual walls to be built, which meant a mega plasterboard delivery, and I had to put together an electrical plan without having ever used this room as an actual room before, deciding where we want every plug, every light to go. And soon after, the walls were going in. What's that? A sexy skylight? And the bones of an actual bathroom? Next time we're getting insulated, wired and plumbed before the fireplace gets its final facelift. See you then, yeah? Less than 6 weeks ago, our Victorian loft room looked like this, then this, and now this. It's time for part 8, girlies. Strap in.
To the salon!
Last time we went from nothing to a hench dormer, which was a lot, and soon after stud walls started going in, we had the actual framework of rooms, then plumbing and wiring joined the club. It's so nice to be able to choose where you want everything rather than inheriting sockets in the least convenient places. Then insulation started going in and the giant sunroof was closing up at last. We're back indoors-ish. Like, remember the dormer on our original roof? Absolutely laughable.
Oh, no.
This is the size of it now. Like, look at it. It's a giant, but all under permitted development, of course. We didn't have to go through planning permission for this. The roofers have also been hard at work covering it all, and we have a window in, so it almost looks like a house again. And inside, well, let's have a reminder of the before, just 6 weeks ago. And now she's fully plasterboarded. We have walls, ceilings, storage, windows, doors. Like, the smallest things are making me so happy right now. There was no light in this room before, but these windows are letting it all shine through, and the fluted doors I was umming and ahhing about, well, they look gorgeous. And we have an actual bathroom ready for tiling very soon. I'm so excited, but I'm not done with the fireplace just yet. There's so much more to come in part 9. Our brick beast of a Victorian fireplace has come a long way, but there's one big final step to go. We've spent hours restoring each brick with a deep acid clean, finished with some gorgeous repointing we had a professional in to do. I mean, this before and after, spectacular.
Look at this.
And now the final boss, sealing in the bricks. This will stop them getting dirty and just dust-proof them so nothing can flake off into the room. Poured out the forbidden milk and just use a simple brush to coat the whole thing. And this was such an easy DIY. I would recommend if you've got a similar exposed brick situation. I did try it with a roller, but it just wasn't for me, okay? I'm sticking to the brush. I was a bit worried at first that it was going to permanently darken the mortar colour, but it looks just as it did before, but with a slight sheen in some lights. So now the fireplace is officially done. What next? Let's take a moment for the outside because we now have a roof back on the house. Our massive dormer is officially covered and she's a sleek and smart anthracite dream. And remember the front catastrophe? Well, the glow up is glowing. We've got big windows letting all that light in, and I can't believe the roofing chapter is over. Big sleigh. Back indoors I got with a few small jobs like osmo oiling this oak door, the entrance to the whole room. This is kind of similar to the brick ceiling, just means that any dust or dirt will slide straight off. But days later this door had to be taken off because guess what's happened, Huns? The room isn't only rebuilt, but there might even be plaster on the walls. Get ready for a big reveal in part 10. Our loft renovation project hasn't always been smooth sailing, but somehow this big part of the process happened in record time. It was all plasterboarded and ready for some good old British gypsum, and by a miracle we managed to get a plaster in a matter of days. Back to plastic protection land we go, and his team finished the whole space in just 2 days. We really hit the tradie jackpot with this one. Look at those smooth chalky milk walls, they do make all the pain go away. And now we could swing the new windows open. It started to dry out pretty quickly, and yeah, soon enough it was giving brown count stunning. It really is the UR sensation. Within a week we'd gone from those dark plaster walls to the light and bright dry surface, ready for a milky mist coat. And how are we in the decor phase of this already? Only 2 months after such chaos. When it looks this good you can almost forget any of that past trauma ever happened. Only the real ones remember this.
Waking up in the morning, thinking about so many things. I just wish things would get better.
Anyway, now the room was back to rooming again. We even moved some old shit back into the eaves. What a milestone. And the tiles for the ensuite arrived because it won't be long before they're being installed too. But before they do, we're tanking the shower and then the mist coating begins. Pray for my arms and see you in part 11, yeah? We've completely rebuilt built our Victorian loft room in just 2 months, but the ever-mounting overwhelm of everything we still have to do is real. And yes, I've made a whole mess. We went from the literal open air to a plastered shell very quickly, thank you builders, which leaves the painting part now in our court. First things first though, I tanked the shower in the new ensuite, which is basically waterproofing the walls so nothing can get through and damage that plaster when we're having a good old wash in here. I've done this before and it's such an easy DIY, but it does take time. There's a primer coat, taping, coat 1 and coat 2, but now it is done. The ensuite is ready for tiling, which is wild. That also means we can move on to a more exciting task, painting the walls. Well, we're miscoating them to start. This is a base coat of paint that the fresh plaster soaks up and sort of seals itself in so your actual top coat of paint doesn't flake off. I started in the ensuite using the jumbo 12-inch roller for the walls and a little 4-inch boy for those smaller areas. And pro tip, don't climb a step ladder with a big trough of paint on it, especially if you're clumsy like me. We'll be ignoring the big white splodge on the floor going forward, okay? Please and thank you. I miscoated the whole space all by myself and we've got a lot of real estate up in here. So many edges and awkward corners to paint and it was neither quick or easy. The fresh plaster sucks it up so quick and it goes nowhere.
Good soup.
And yes, I've added some water to the paint. I'm just very grateful this only needs the one coat. Day one of hours and hours of miscoating got me to here, but we still have to reach all the way up here, and I have no idea how we're going to do that, so let's find out in part 12, shall we? This is not a drill. We have colour on the walls. Yes, these same walls once upon a time. Let me catch you up. The process of having our whole roof rebuilt has somehow sped through to the plastered and ready for painting stage. This is what being a highly organised type A with a fear of failure gets you. In the last part, we'd started miscoating the space, which is going to be a bedroom with ensuite, and now it's time to tackle the very tall stairway up to said room. In fact, it's over 3.5 metres tall and I am not, so what on earth am I going to do? Didn't think about this when we were getting the dormer built, did we? Thankfully, extendable roller poles were invented to add the extra metres I need, and I went to town with the big stretchers to get these walls miscoated. Thinking of painting a big mural in here eventually, but probably a bad idea given my current conundrum. Then I had another problem. I could not reach up into the skylight to get into those edges, so Neil, who had conveniently been in bed with a headache all day, swooped in to take the glory of reaching the very highest parts and finished all the miscoating. And if that's not a metaphor for the patriarchy and women laying the groundwork for men's apparent achievements, I don't know what is. Anyway, the walls have now drunk up the miscoat and I could actually think about getting colour on the walls, starting in the ensuite. So these are the tiles, and the last thing I wanted to do was just paint the walls white. Boring. So I chose this shade, a gorgeous peachy pink called Serene Peach, and my god, this was a glorious moment. Final decoration, who is she? 2 coats of this and the ensuite is painted and ready for the bathroom to go in. Gagged, gooped, gonna throw up. But now it's back to the main room, and just call me Sabrina Carpenter because I'm about to fit all the architrave and skirting, which I thought was going to be easy. Spoiler alert, it's not. See you in part 13. Part 13 of our mega loft room renovation, and this part is clearly cursed because I've got to stick skirting board on jagged corners like this, having never done it before. What could go wrong? As we'll be painting the walls and woodwork all one colour, we cracked on with getting the woodwork fitted, spending a whole weekend trying to master a new skill. Did we master it? Watch and you'll find out, my friend. Started by marking the outlines for the architrave, and have you ever noticed how it doesn't actually sit flush to the doorway? Seriously, go look at yours now. Then I measured and cut the heads of the architrave, try and remember which direction to cut the angle in. Did I get this wrong more than once? I don't see why that's any of your business. Stuck them in place with a adhesive and moved on to this excellent trick for the legs. Cut the 45-degree angle in, then turn the leg upside down, mark where it crosses the head of the architrave, and that's where you'll need to cut.
Amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique.
So now skirting. Tell me why this was hard when it looks easy. I got the measurements wrong. I couldn't even cut through one piece. They say a poor workman blames their tools, and in this case, the tools is me. But eventually I got there, and the buzz I felt getting this tiny piece on the wall, let me tell you, I've never actually experienced that sort of atmosphere at a game before. Then the dreaded zigzag. Gross. Blech. But after a few false starts, lots of dodgy trims, we did it. So the errors were over until Neil fucked up this cut around the fireplace. Not just me then, is it? And even used his fuck up to guide the replacement. Mishaps aside, we are all wooded out, and now we're painting the walls. Can you guess which colour? It's all happening in part 14. Who wants to see what colour we've decided to paint our loft room? This is going to be a bedroom, so we wanted to create a bold yet calming vibe with traditional Victorian touches coming through in this beast of a fireplace we restored, the ceiling rows I fitted, and the pretty woodwork we spent a whole weekend putting in. But before we could paint, I had to take on a task I love but hate how long it takes: caulking and filling every little crevice in sight. Now, if you ask me what I think about caulking, I'd say it's alright, but if you ask me on a deeper level, I'd say it's the one thing I think I've mastered, the part of DIY that I have full confidence in. It makes me feel alive, gives me purpose and meaning. I'm a better person because of it. Yeah, I don't mind it. We're painting all the woodwork and walls one colour, so I caulked first so I could just paint over it all at once, which brings me on to painting. So this room is officially going to be pink. Of course, the dungarees were the clue all along. Now, I underestimated how much I had to paint the walls, the slopey walls, the window reveals, the ceiling, the architrave, the lower down architrave, all the skirting, the ceiling rows. By coat 2, I think I'd officially disassociated and just screamed along to my musical soundtrack while I was doing it. And I kept just spilling paint somehow. I felt like one of those ice cream shops where they scrape ice cream shavings up for the gram and charge you £8 for it for no reason at all. Anyway, here we are, a fully painted pink room. She's gorgeous, she's glowing, so surely that's it, done? Oh no, my friend, because this wall needs a little something. How about some ridiculously bold wallpaper? Prepare yourselves for part 15. This doesn't need to be Sharn, you're a card. You can line up with the dots. Sit down.
No, look at you.
Why are you being such a We've kept it together pretty well throughout this renovation, but the one thing that finally broke us was wallpapering. We've never done this before, so watch as we take 5 hours to do one wall, fall out, make a massive mess, and every mistake under the sun. Disclaimer, this is not the wallpaper's fault. This paper is amazing quality. Our inexperience and naivety is what led us down a rotten path. We were tackling corners, bends, doors, sloping ceilings, so we did not make it easy on ourselves. And this is actually a mural printed to size, so you have to start from left to right, and yeah, that was fun. I'm a micromanager who doesn't trust people. Neil has a I have to win at everything complex, so we are a bad wallpapering combo. The Insta girlies who make this look a breeze have a lot to answer for, let me tell you. But once we started to get the hang of it and stopped resenting each other's existence, we actually got through it pretty well. I was good at lining up the pattern, Neil was good at cutting, pasting and prepping, so we both found our lanes and whizzed through the final sheets. Now, don't look too closely at the gaps, the dodgy corners, the dotted lines still on the wall from where we didn't start the paper high enough. Literally, who asked you to look at those? Despite the stress of it all, I am so happy with how this paper looks. It's so fun and silly. You are never too old for smiley walls. So now we've got through the hellscape of wallpapering. Did I give myself a break? Of course not. Next time we're pouring and tiling a huge hearth for the huge fireplace. Let's do it in part 16, yeah? Let's go on a fireplace journey. It started like this, and then we soon uncovered this, but we quickly noticed a big issue. This central fireplace was essentially floating. Building regs in the Victorian era were clearly not a thing. Through the whole roof replacement process, this amazing fireplace stood strong, and we had brand new level floors put in around it, so the room wasn't a wonky pirate ship anymore. But that did not solve our problem. The fireplace support stones were now sitting just above floor height, so we needed a solution to hide them, and thankfully my brain came up with one that would take several days and about 16 hours of very hard graft. Love that for me. My idea was to create a pretty fireplace hearth that would top the height of the stones and just be a gorgeous feature in the room, but we'd have to build it ourselves from scratch. We did this by making a whole mess with expanding foam. Don't even ask, and I'm going to do a whole video on this process very soon. But then another problem. Our hearth was so big that one 20-kilogram bag of self-leveling wasn't enough. So the next day, another pour, and that should be it, right? The suspense when we removed it and prayed for a clean edge was very real, but it looks like our prayers were answered because the finish was actually very demure. Sometimes the shit make it up as you go along method does work. So now we could get to tiling, and these are the tiles I picked. And since the opposite wall is papered in this bold pattern, I wanted colourful but quite simple. So the tiling begins in part 17. Get ready for 13 hours of chaos, and another space might be tiled. All will be revealed in the next part. I've been keeping a secret from you. Remember when this room looked like this? But we had a big dormer put in, giving us a whole new room which would become an ensuite. Well, now said ensuite is actually ensuiting because not only did I get it painted and prepped for its new life, but tiles have been going down and it is now ready for a whole bathroom to go in. We hired a pro to do this because if there's one thing that's not my forte, it's precision. I wasn't expecting to be attracted to a niche today, but here we are. Side note, look at this amazing mirror I bought for just 22 quid from George Home. I am still so gagged and gooped by that price. But back into the main bedroom of this space, and we're back on our tile in the fireplace bullshit because last time we got the hearth made with a messy but successful self-leveling hack, and now it's time to get laid. I very nearly threw the towel in on this because cutting the brass trim to the right size and overhanging it evenly all the way across was hideous, but I kind of managed it and just cracked on with getting all those tiles down. Being a grid layout made it a bit simpler, but let me tell you, it took me 9 hours just to get the tiles down. 9 hours. So many cuts, tiny slithers, edge pieces, but I did it, and the next day I could grout this beast. Another few hours of complete mess, but overall quite an easy process. Then the cleanup was a euphoric moment, knowing that all these long hours of work had been worth it. A proud DIY moment. I can't believe it ever looked like this. And there are even more upgrades next time because we have carpet and I'm going to be revealing the finished ensuite. See you then, kids. It's part 18 of our huge loft room renovation, and Huns, we are so nearly there, and I have a whole finished ensuite to reveal to you right now. In April we had no roof, no floors, no hope, but now we have an actual room back, paint and wallpaper on the walls, a fireplace hearth we built and tiled ourselves, and now it's finishing touches time. We had MDF eaves storage doors to fit handles on, prime and paint, which was one of those DIY jobs that doesn't actually make you hate your life. It's fairly quick, it's pretty easy, and my brain can just... A good old wood primer and eggshell paint on top to colour drench the doors, all matching the walls, and we are in pink paradise. And the pink continues into another space, which I haven't spoken much about. Our loft space not only has the bedroom and ensuite and eave storage, but it has this big walk-in cupboard too. We painted her, then we used leftover plywood from the old built-in bookshelves from our last house to create these handy shelves. Did somebody say sustainable? Did somebody say...
Slave?
Anyway, now let's see the ensuite. Real ones will remember this and this. And now we did it, Joe. We have a bathroom. Honestly, I am so happy with this little room. It's serving pattern, it's serving texture.
I'm gonna serve exactly what you are. Cut!
Tag yourself, I'm the unhinged bath mat. And in part 19, there's another big reveal coming as carpet goes in, but we've already fucked it. Yay! See you then. When you save up for a fancy new carpet but ruin it straight away. Strapping for part 19 of our big loft room renovation. Last time we got to hear a finished ensuite and a whole room ready to actually become inhabitable. All it needed was a carpet, and I looked at lots of samples. Beige for a bedroom, groundbreaking. Not long after making a choice, the carpet was fitted. No more dusty chipboard to tread on, instead this beautiful loopy boy. Then we had to fit the radiator on top of the carpet, which was going fine until one screw created a huge pull in the carpet, and that was it. I was like,
I mean, what the fuck? Can I live? Can I live?
But renovations always require clever solutions, so I decided to glue that pulled bit of carpet back down, and it's behind a door under a radiator, so nobody's gonna know. How would they know? And there we have it. The room is carpeted. Atlas came to test out the new soft beige, and I was like, don't you dare, bitch. Keep those claws to yourself, all right? Just before the carpet was fitted, I had to get a chimney balloon up the chimney, which was just as much of a struggle as it looks. If you can't handle me at my squeezing a bag of breath up a chimney, you don't deserve me at my fitting roof window blinds, which is what we did next. These blackout blinds mean when someone comes to sleep up here, they can actually sleep, and the sunlight won't be like... Speaking of sleeping, we're now very nearly at the end of this renovation process, can you believe? And next time we're moving actual furniture into the finished room. And of course, I went bold. I'll be showing you it all in part 20. What do you do when you've spent the whole year transforming the top of your house from a literal wreck to no roof at all, to craning in steel beams, rebuilding the floors, adding a huge dumpy on the back, planning a new layout, rebuilding walls, replumbing, rewiring, rethinking your whole existence while you try to cling on to the last shred of sanity you have? You decorate it like a clown, of course, disassociating from the trauma of this. It's got to be huge smiley face wallpaper, pink walls and overly extravagant doors, because you deserve heaven when you've lived in the depths of hell. And now it's time to finish this room before I I give you the final reveal. So last time the carpet went down, we ruined it within days, but I quickly salvaged it so we could get some actual furniture in here, starting with this wiggly mirror. She was only $35.99 in the sale, and she was destined for floor standing life, but I didn't let that stop me. A few brackets and some messy drill holes later, and we are on the wall. I also bought an equally wiggly armchair for the corner, which is also a stunner and is extremely comfortable, despite the fact it's purely to show off that I have corners that I can put things in, because I am that bitch. Bums will grace this seat 2 to 5 times a year maximum, I guarantee. And of course, the bed. Side note, why are beds so expensive? I found this boucle baby online for a reasonable amount of coin, and yeah, it's king size. I'm just showing off now with all the space up here. And lastly, a fun smiley face lamp, because serious structural work calls for absolute silliness. And there we have it, a room ready to reveal. Are you ready? Like really ready?
I'm ready.
Well, you said that with some determination.
Follow along, because we are revealing this whole room very soon. I've got something to tell you. The loft room renovation series is officially over. Done. Because we are finished. We actually did the thing. So get ready for the reveal of the final beautiful bougie bedroom suite we've created.
Show me to me, please. Send it to me, Rachel.
We started planning this project back in January. Who remembers this stage? And a few months later, the same space looked like this. I still cannot believe this was our actual house for months, until we finally had a roof and walls back, before tirelessly decorating every last inch of it, putting in a colourful new ensuite, and then furnishing the shit out of the bedroom space with all the silly things money can buy. So all that was left on our list was to decide what to put in this beast of a fireplace. I didn't want to cram it with knickknacks, so we hung a cute trailing plant, which I've been growing for a year. She's been waiting for her moment to shine, so here it is, hun. And some artwork that my friend made for me, which really sums up how I feel about our work here. Big fucking slay. And so all that's left to do now is show you the results. Remember the before, and now here is the after. This transformation still has me gagged and gooped. I cannot believe this is the same space as the crusty, dusty loft room we had up here. Our vision of a light, bright and fun space has actually come to life. It's 1000% me, and it's just beyond what I imagined. I am so happy with what we've created, and I really hope you love it too. Thank you for all your incredible support throughout this monster renovation. It means the absolute world, and please stay with me for the next stage, because we are starting 2 more rooms very soon.